fixing typos with string functions, and then we looked at missing values, dropping rows or columns based on missing values, and imputing missing values. Because if you start dropping rows and columns based on missing values, sometimes we may end up losing a lot of data, and therefore there is incentive to impute, or imputing meaning, impute means that you try to guess what that missing value could be, and there are several ways in which this can be accomplished, and we discussed that. Okay, one last concept in terms of cleaning data is well, maybe two more. Okay. Removing duplicates. So sometimes some rows may get duplicated in the original data. Okay, and there are some data modeling techniques where we try to sample with replacement. When we do sampling with replacement, okay, the data that we end up will have duplicates. Okay, that's a different, ball of wax. So because there we are deliberately creating duplicate data. But in this instance, what we are talking about is the original data where there are duplicates and we want to get rid of them. Okay. Then later, if we want to build samples which may contain duplicate data, that's a different matter. Okay. Sometimes we do that. That will be part of the modeling. But right now, here, in preparing data, okay, if there are duplicates, we want to be able to detect the duplicates and remove them. Okay. So before we get started, first thing to do is to run all the cells above this. Okay. So starting from the top with import NumPy, import pandas, and all the data and all the modifications that we've done so far. Okay, so all of that gets executed. All right. So now we make a copy of df3. All right. So now pandas has a function called duplicated. Okay. So each row will be compared with all the rows above it and see whether that's a duplicated row or not. If it is a duplicated row, okay, so this function returns true or false. Okay. If it is duplicated, then it will be true. If it is not duplicated, then it will be false. So if we then sum that, then we will get the number of duplicates, because after running this function, you will have a column of true and false. True meaning it is duplicated, false meaning it's not duplicated. So when you sum, it tells you how many duplicated rows there are. Okay. And then to remove duplicates, you can use drop duplicates, and it gives you a couple of options. First of all, it's not permanent, and therefore either you have to save it in a different data name, different object name, or you need to use in place equal to true. Then it gives you an option whether when it is duplicated, whether to keep the first one or keep the last one. Okay, and drop all the others. Okay, so it really doesn't matter which one you keep; they are duplicated anyway. So we will just take the default and use in place equal to true. And now you see, so the 9 is gone. Okay, so that one is a duplicated row, so that's gone. Okay, so now this is your turn. Okay, so let's do this. Create a copy of, so let's say, so we dfq7 equal to dfq6 dot copy. So that way, a copy is made. Remember, otherwise, if you don't use copy, it's just an arrow pointing to the same object. So you'll have two arrows. So in other words, that data will have two names, but it's just same object. Okay, now that's going to create a copy. Now we want to know how many duplicates there are. So DFQ7, and the function is duplicated. Okay, so if you run that, then you see that it's going to return back, okay, true and false. Okay, if it is not duplicated, then it's going to have false. If it is duplicated, then it's going to be true. Okay. Then to determine how many duplicates there are, all we have to do is to sum this, because the numeric value for true and false are 1 and 0. So true will be 1, false will be 0. So if you simply add this, you'll get the number of duplicated rows, right? So there are 15 duplicated rows here in that data frame, right? So now we want to remove those duplicated rows. Then so we had to use drop duplicates. Okay, and remember, drop duplicates is not permanent. So either you have to use well. Okay, so now you don't. If you do. Okay, so either you have to do it this way, so then it's going to remove the duplicates and put it back into DFQ7, or you can do it this way. So in place equal to true, then you don't have to put it back. Okay, so it'll do it in place, and remove and save this. Okay. All right. So let's do info. Then you have, you no longer have 299 entries, and you have only 284 entries, because there are 15 duplicates have now been removed.